Good evening. We are live. Hello, everybody.
Everybody.
Everybody,
Good
hello.
evening.
I have Jace, Adrian, and Pat. We are going to talk about ego today, so that should be fun. This was one I wanted to do actually a while ago, and I didn't get all the questions formed, and I just forgot about it, and so forth and so forth. But anyway, here we go. We'll start with announcements, though. Jace, do you have anything coming up you want to tell us about?
I'm not going to get back on a regular schedule until the second Saturday in January. Just kind of popping up here and there when I feel that I have something I want to talk about. Just popping up till the end of the year. So.
Your last live stream, I said I sent you a text. You was doing some serious preaching on this. So y'all go check that out. Jace Harnage is the channel.
I
Um,
also loved when you were just going through your moments of everything you were grateful for last Sunday. It was just really deep because it's you hit on a note that I always try to I do every day. And I just try to remind people is it is okay when you're doing your gratitude practice to just, I'm grateful for air. I'm grateful for a roof over my head. Actually, you should do those and keep it simple because what it is it's just bringing you back to the center and to self and true gratitude. Some people try to think oh, I have to think of these extra things. It's no, you can really be basic. And I'm getting emotional because when you did it, it was just so heartfelt and just so beautiful.
Well, inspired me. It was your video with Veronica that actually inspired me to do it because I thought that was such a lovely session. It was just lovely. It really was. It moved me actually to.
You moved me watching your video, so it was just very.
Thank you.
So everybody, go watch that video too. Watch her last one. It's her last two videos. The one Johnny's talking about where she was preaching, and her gratitude session.
Oh,
Kitty,
and Adrian,
yes.
Your announcements. Do you have anything?
Let's see. Today's Friday, so that would be Sunday. I am going to be joining Johnny from Tarot's Apprentice and Shining Hawk Healing. We will both be on Tony's channel, Shining Hawk Healing, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon, reading on just a variety of topics. It'll be fun. I kind of will try to be on my best behavior. I can't make any promises though, but I'll try to be on my best behavior. And then I think you've got 72 more hours to make any more last minute Christmas purchases from Red Lentil Healing to make sure it arrives by Christmas. You have until 4 p.m. Eastern on Monday, December 20th. And I've got quite a few orders last night. I shipped them out to you today, so you should be getting them in the next couple days, but you've got until the 20th at 4 p.m. if you want to get it by Christmas.
Okay.
And Autumn, do you have anything?
No.
Hello. Sorry I'm late. The same thing as always. I'm on at noon Chicago time, Central Time in the U.S. every single day of the year, and you just can't get rid of me no matter how hard you try. I'm always there. So that's the main thing. Just every day at noon. I do political readings, and I take 12 questions out of the chat, and third star to the right, straight on till morning.
Also, can somebody pretty please, or if you have the opportunity to do it, can you put the link for Autumn's book, which came out on the 4th of this month or 6th of this month, one of them days. Anyway, it's out. If somebody could put Autumn's book link in the Daily Walk down there where y'all type it in.
Thank you. Yes, it's a mystery novel, and it's coming out. You buy it just as a normal novel, but the first part came out, and Christmas Eve, another big part of it's going to come out. No, it doesn't cost anymore. You just buy the book, and you'll get the pieces. Just refresh the file, and it's the last part of it should come out end of January. So, the mystery novel, Time Loop.
Lucky Girl did it. Thank you, Lucky Girl.
And if we could get, well, there it is right there. In Through a Colored Lens Storyteller. Y'all make sure you go subscribe and check out her content over there.
It's fantastic.
Do you have any updates you want to share, Miss Pat?
Hello, everyone. And Sharon Sipe isn't feeling well, so I send a message. Wellness to Sharon Sipe. This is everywhere, ubiquitous. Um, I think I'll put a story in over the weekend.
Okay.
Yay.
So y'all be watching for that. Make sure you got your notification bell on and all that good stuff.
Thank you very much.
Me, I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Gosh, you'll be on Sunday with Tony at 3.
Yeah, you said that one.
Then you'll be live again at 8 p.m. on Becca's. You guys are going to be on Becca's channel
Yes.
on Sunday evening at 8 p.m.
I mean, but if y'all are here, y'all should know that by now. I mean, but then again, we always get the comment, when do y'all start? We start the same time every single week. But yes, I thought I might have had something going on tomorrow, but I don't know. Wait a minute, God dang it.
Look at your calendar.
I mean, Jesus. No, it's a full moon tomorrow. That's
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
I put that
Yes,
on the calendar, but that's about the only thing. Anyway,
it is a full moon.
today, thank you for joining me, all of y'all.
Thank you very much.
And Jace and Pat and Adrian for the last minute. I texted y'all literally yesterday, said to you and said, do y'all want to join? Jace, I want to start with you though. As a
Okay.
person, we have just been talking about your gig and that you have been going back to performing. And as a person who has sang with people, especially, people with a name in the business as well, I want to know, what is ego to you? And is it ever useful in your life? Like, define it for me first. What is?
All right, okay. Well, I've used ego as an acronym for edging God out, edging the life force, the creator out. And we all possess ego. It has to do, I think, with a sense of self-esteem or self-importance. In music, you have to have a certain amount of it in order to. I always say that anybody who wants to perform or get before large audiences has a special neuroses. There's something up with you that makes you want to get up in front of people and just kind of bear it all out, and then you're exposed. You don't know if people are going to like it or if they're not going to like it or whatever. So you have to have a certain amount of ego. However, I do my best to keep mine intact by understanding that I shouldn't think any more of myself than I ought, if that makes any sense. That ultimately I'm more. I want to always be connected to the spirit that abides within all of us. I always want to remain connected to that, as opposed to my human thing that feels like, I got to always have it fed or massaged or something. Yeah.
Okay, Pat, what is ego to you, and is it ever useful?
I did a little research because that's fun. So the origin of the ego is coming out of Latin as we use it, meaning I. So that's the English translation. Ego is I. And so what is ego? Ego is attached to Pat, the name that is Pat, the identity that is the Pat person, and the things that if I'm very quiet, I can say, oh, well, that's a Pat thing. All these aspects of personality. So yeah, it is a way of attaching identity to each individual body.
Adrian,
Mhm.
what is ego and is it useful?
Ego, I always have adopted, I believe, don't quote me, you can, and you can correct me, so I lied, because I'm going to detach my ego from this, but I believe Freud, he went and did the Latin, so ego is literally I means self, so ego is self. Are there times where it is useful? Absolutely. I think when you sit and go, me, I, self, how am I healthy? Am I in a situation where I am safe? I am okay. When you have that good balance of ego, of self, it is very helpful, healthy. So yeah, it can be.
Autumn, what is ego to you and is it useful ever?
Sorry. I was just drawing something here quickly because I just realized the best way to do it. To me, you can think of the divine as a giant light. This is not to scale, but you have the divine, and then these smaller, it's like fractals, and the smaller, these are archangels, and down and down and down, smaller and smaller, and then smaller, smaller, smaller still, until you get down to like us. And there's this higher self, which to me is this circle. And that circle, my higher self, has me in this life and has all these lives I've had. And this is the one I'm in right now. And to me, ego is it's this identifier and this construct and this astrology chart and this family member that separates me, or rather doesn't separate, it differentiates me as this part of my higher self. And is it useful? Well, it's fun. It's I get to be in this vessel, be this person, have these experiences. I think of our physical bodies as being like a deep sea diving bell. It's like a one-person deep sea diving bell, and we're each in our own diving bell. And then we're down here and we work together and help each other. And to me, it's identity. It's I get to be this fun thing for a while, or my experience, but I'm a combination of this vessel, this brain, and this spark of the really spark of the divine, which is a saying that every one of us have. So that's ego.
I think it is tricky because it is a part of every single person. But at the same time, I feel as though, and that's the next question, as a person who is a practitioner or worker or whatever in the spiritual realm, it separates for me, your ability to effectively connect to spirit, into the spiritual realm, into your spiritual practices. At the same time, everybody in the spiritual realm always tells you you're a part of, and you're stardust, and you're all these magical, romantical things, and they make you sound like, oh my goodness, I'm kind of somebody around here. And then you think, okay, well, now that your ego talking, well, then don't tell me I'm special. Either tell me I'm small and insignificant, like science does, where they say, you're just a part of the greater scheme of things, and your planet is small, and so are you, and such and such and such and such. Or am I really just born from the light, and I'm a light worker, and I'm a light walking this, and blah, blah. So it can be tricky. But for me, ego is not a good thing because it is not the same thing as confidence.
Exactly.
And so to me, it is not a thing that you need to use. It's just a part of you. But Okay, I'll start with you, Adrian, as the shaman on board. Do you believe that you can be an effective spiritual worker with ego at the same time?
So if you're talking ego as in self, yes, because you are the person who signed the contract to be here. So self, I, Adrian, signed the contract to come down on earth to practice shamanism and to help people heal. If you're using ego in the sense of overconfidence, egomaniacal, then no, you cannot. So it's how you define ego, how you attach whatever pros and cons, what is the word I'm looking for? Your own interpretation of the word ego. So if you're looking at ego as we define it as just self, then yes, because I am blessed to be this healer who comes down and helps people. But if
That you're the vessel.
I'm the vessel,
Yeah.
I'm the shell that I'm the shell that the person's body uses to help them heal. And that's it. There's something very freeing, something very unspecial about that, because I feel that anybody could be the vessel.
Okay. Autumn, I want to go to you. Can you be an effective spiritual worker? Like even just a reader or astrologer, whatever your spiritual practices would be. Can you be effective with ego?
Well, I don't know. I guess I have a slightly different view on it, just personally, because to me, I see them. I see spirituality, and I see my soul and my form as so intertwined that being if I try to separate out the spirituality and I'm just this person, gosh, yeah, you feel very small, and then you start being on that roller coaster of I'm special, I'm not special, what have you. But actually, what you brought up, the word special, I think is important, because I try to explain it this way. If you found a treasure trove of Fabergé eggs, would anyone really be like, oh, well, that one's special, that one, that's not important, no, they're Fabergé eggs, they're masterpieces by a master craftsperson. They are all magnificent in their way, and that's you are special. And also with astrology, you are this particular we are all particular. When we come into this world, we leave our mother's energy field. We're like X-ray plates, and the universe kind of zaps, and we become the embodiment of this moment in space and time, which is how. So, and we are the fruit, the fulfilling of that. I'm a sun Scorpio and a moon in Cancer, and Saturn on my ascendant, and all this kind of stuff. So I don't. To me, can you be an effective spiritual worker? How can you not? Otherwise, you just dissolve back into the form. You need ego to separate yourself out, but there's no. That's just how I see it.
Jace, what about you? Can you be an effective spiritual worker with ego?
I think I can agree with Adrian and with Autumn. I feel that when you are healers, when you accept why you're here and you work within that realm, whether however you might be healing, like Adrian has all of these wonderful. She's a Reiki master. She's a shaman. She creates all of these great healing unctions and ointments and whatever. And she walks in that. Whenever you decide that you are going to do any kind of spiritual work, for me, it is important that you put your personal ego aside, because like you said, it's tricky. In Galatians, I think it's Galatians 2:20, when Paul is talking, he's saying that I have been crucified with the divine, so that it's no longer, when I'm doing what I'm doing, that it's no longer me doing this. It is me being the vessel for the divine to do this. I'm doing the work of the divine. I think when you are and for me, people who are truly here, that are light workers, because they exist. We are all points of light. We are all, like, I think Dr. Bruce Lipton says we have like 440 trillion lights within us. We're like these supercharged batteries. For me, it's important that I pull myself out of it. If I'm going to truly be effective at what I'm doing, then I have to truly allow the divine to work through me, as Adrian says, like become the vessel. If that makes sense, so that it's like I become small, so that the divine can kind of flourish within me and work through me. You know, even if I'm seeing something and I can prophesy, or I take a peek, that would have I can't allow myself to get in the way of it. It's like with tarot, when you're reading something, you feel a certain kind of way about the subject or the person you're reading about. You kind of have to, in order to really affect the reading, I think you kind of have to put aside your personal stuff, so that you can actually pick up the true message of what the cards are saying. So I think that you have to, as a true spiritual worker, you have to be open to the divine in order to be effective.
That makes sense. Pat, what about you? Can you be effective spiritual worker with ego?
Yes, you can be in this way. That years ago I used to do social work, and one of the things I learned in that is help when it is received and willing to be received. If I offer help, but the person is not willing to receive it, then it just becomes an intrusion on the person. So the effectiveness of it is in partnership with the other person's readiness or willingness to receive it, regardless of my ego perhaps getting in the way. So there's that. I mean, it is helpful to have the ability to put the ego to one side to allow the flow to be less interrupted, but it's still sort of, the entirety of the flow from the one unit into the receiver of it, in terms of their willingness to have that happen. So there's that, because one person could be presenting that truth or that healing, and it's just flying over the person's head because the receptivity is not there. 10 months later, someone else does it, and they're like, wow, what a genius. That person just said 2 words and it healed me. And you're over here going like, I did that 10 months ago. How come you weren't ready for it? So there's that side of it.
You hit on a good point, because both of every formalized training I've ever taken, but whether it be, sound healing, musical shamanism itself, with various tribes, or just, becoming a Reiki master, the number one thing they say is you cannot impede on someone's free will. So therefore you have to ask permission before you do anything. And what you said makes so much sense, because you can send it. And when you send it and they're not wanting it or receptive to it, it becomes intrusion. And then that's when your ego is involved, because I am doing what I think is best for you, not what the person, the recipient, wants. You can't do it until you're ready. So I always say that. And I've said this a lot in the chat when I see people going, well, I'm sending Reiki energy. No. You've already violated the number one rule of healing, which is you have to ask that person for permission. Then and only then, when they say yes, can you send it.
I feel as though, yes, you can be an effective spiritual worker. There are certain things, though, because spiritual worker is a broad term, which I wanted it to be, because everybody does things differently in the spiritual field. Um, but yes, you can be, because everything that you do in the spiritual realm does not involve interpretation. Sometimes you just need to be the vessel to put something onto. Tarot cards involve interpretation. So you have to get out the way so that that thing that you're trying to connect with can do the talking and do the speaking and do the interpretation, can deliver the message. If it's just about you, then, then make up your own cards. But if
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the case may be. So yes, I believe you can be. I do like the idea though that help is help if you receive it. If not, then it's just a
Yeah.
treat.
Exactly.
But you do need a certain because to me, an ego is like a bottle cap. It nothing gets in, nothing gets out. And so, if it's all about you when you're trying to do interpretation, then you're not going to be effective, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
if you are just being a vessel, then ego is a part of you. If you try to destroy it, you just destroy a part of you. It's a part of you. You can't wipe it away. You can't ignore it. You can't delete it.
Right.
I think there was a quote online that says, um, more ego, less knowledge, more knowledge, less ego. And so, in some certain cases, yes. But if you're just meant to be the vessel to pass through healing, or you don't really need to move the ego out of the way to hit the gong. But you do if you're trying to interpret a message to someone.
Mm.
Well, I would like to comment on what Adrian and what Pat have said because it's true. When and I'm just going to say there is a particular person that will call and I mean I put a long what do you call long rod. I have to really be prepared to talk with them because I know that they're calling because they want me to give them a message, What I have found is when I pray for someone, and I spoke about focused, affirmative, targeted prayer. And if when I open up and begin to receive messages, you're right. If a person isn't willing or doesn't like what you're saying, then I mean, it's like okay, it's like it does begin to feel like an intrusion because they're not accepting it, and it usually has to do in these situations with somebody not liking what you're receiving and what you're imparting to them. They don't like it because it's not what they want to hear.
And that does go back though to back into the ego discussion. When you deliver the message, leave it there. They can feel however they want to. If you
Right.
start to then feel something about how the way they feel, then you have now moved in
Yeah.
place.
Yeah.
And it's like now it's all about you and how you
Yeah.
are reacting to how they're reacting.
Right.
It doesn't matter how they take it because you were meant to deliver the message.
Right.
Right.
The message has been delivered. They can take it or leave it. Good day, goodbye. But I want to go back to you, Jace, as the songstress amongst us. Have you ever wanted or craved to be the center of attention?
Well, let me say this: when I was a bullied child, and I did all kinds of things that to get the mean girls to like me. So that to me uh, probably affected I mean, I always loved music. I've always been able to do it. Um, I always been blessed with a gift to sing. And that's why I was saying that when you want to stand before people, and whether you're speaking or performing, you have to have. I think you want that part of you to be liked or loved or massaged or accepted. So I think on a certain level, some I'm thinking like more like self-confidence or your self-esteem. I just really feel like sometimes people who get involved with with entertainment, and they want to sing, and you're not going to always get a great response. I mean, I have gotten up and like bombed, and it's like, oh my God.
Now,
That,
let me
that makes me feel a certain kind of way. I have to admit it, like, damn.
okay, but I want to go back here now because you skated around what I asked you.
Yeah,
I was hoping you wouldn't pick up on that.
Because you went into confidence. Yes. Have you ever craved to be the center of attention or ever wanted to be the center of attention?
I think, yeah. I think if you're going to do it, that's kind of like automatic. Yeah, I want you to hear me. I want you to see me. I want all eyes on me. So yeah, that would be craving it, or at least expecting it.
I like that word. Okay. Autumn, have you ever craved or wanted to be the center of attention?
No, I can't imagine why anybody would think. Gosh, I never want to be noticed. No. Yes and no. Yes, but only to a point. I'm the youngest of three girls, and I guess I just learned early on that if you are the center of attention, I think since a lot of stuff starts in the home. If you're the center of attention, the expectations are higher for you. But if you're one of three, you get some attention, but all the pressure's not on you. Mm-hmm. So I think I've carried that through, where and my focus isn't, and my focus isn't really on getting attention. I feel like I'm talking too much. Does that answer? You're fine. My father had years ago, he had his dream car, absolute dream car. And he got a license plate for the back of it that was a version of the word excellence. And at the time I thought that was really cheesy because I was a teenager, And, but I find that as I've gone through life, I find myself that's really, if I focus on trying to do the best, whatever that is, and I do that, then I will be okay. So it's not even necessarily, I have the greatest YouTube channel. I don't, but I'm doing the absolute best I can with this. And that's, and if, do I want people to come see it? Of course, but they're not going to stay if it's not good. And if it's not good, that's on me.
Okay. Adrian, have you ever wanted or craved to be the center of attention?
I feel that is a human experience. And anybody who says they have not, check your because, and here's why, because we do things at times thinking we don't want attention, but what we do is so attention worthy. Then you have to ask yourself, no, really, why did I do that? If I didn't want the attention, then why did I do it? And that's when you have to really check your motivation. So absolutely, obviously, I've been a college professor for years. You have to command and be the center of attention to be a college professor, whether you want to or not. I didn't go into it to be the center of attention. I wanted to teach because I really like the subject that I teach and I want to help inspire kids. But I was like, wait a minute, I now have to be the center of attention. That's awkward. People are like, 1, 2, 3, all eyes on me. That's so uncomfortable. The person who's always had multiple hair colors, but I always want to bleed into the background. Adrian, those are two completely different things. You can't bleed into the background and have purple hair. So which one is it? Do you want to be the center of attention, or do you want attention, or is it that you want to be you as an individual, but not have everybody stare at you? So you always have to check your motivations as to why you do things. Mm-hmm. So the short answer is yes, and the long answer is yes. And I dare anybody to say that they haven't at one point.
Oh yeah.
Pat, have you ever craved or wanted to be the center of attention?
No, because I was the firstborn, so it was handed to me. And
yes.
And so actually, I've had a lot of unwanted attention, and it's kind of part of my shyness. But in terms of the yes part, what I have craved and wanted was attention for what I produce. Mm-hmm. And it's like a guiding principle. Yeah. That what I do is for people to think about or to respond to, and that doesn't mean respond to me, but respond within themselves. The things I write, it's for the purpose of giving the opportunity for people to think about those ideas and those pieces of information. And the greatest joy for me is when people respond to something that I've written. Again, not in terms of writing back to me or writing a comment, because I'm frankly not interested in like the columns I write. I don't really care what people have to say about it. But in terms of the conversation they have with themselves once they've read or consumed something that I've written. So that's the craving of attention for these things.
Yes, to short answer. Because I was kind of like Adrian, to where I want to blend because I like people watching. I like the art of observing behavior.
Ooh, it's so much entertainment.
I mean, really.
But at the same time, I always want to comment on it and then bring the humor in it. And if you're trying to make one person, two people, a group of people laugh, then yes, you are trying to be the center of attention. Whether that's your intention or not, that is still what you're trying to do. And I am a person, I'm a homebody. I stay in these four walls for the largest amount of time I possibly can. But when I do get, when somebody says, hey, want to go bowling or something, then my first answer is no. But then after pressure, it's like, okay, fine, then I'll go with you and whatever. Now, mind you, it's 4 or 5 people, but at the same time, I feel like I need to stick out. And it's not, I don't want to say it's not conscious, but at the same time, it's what back to Jace was saying too. Beyonce has a thing she calls Sasha Fierce. Mm-hmm. That's the person that goes on stage. Beyonce, she's very humble, very meek. She's quiet spoken, at least on interviews. But when she goes on the stage, she's Sasha Fierce. She's a whole different person. She's an embodiment of energy type thing. So I kind of am the same way when I go out to places with people. I feel like I have to effervesce, like I have to put on now. And it's not even an act. It's like a switch turns. And I'm just that person all of a sudden. And so, you know, we go bowling. I need to try to make you laugh because I suck at bowling. So I'm going to get on the floor and roll it like a kid. And then you're going to fall out laughing. Then we're all going to have a good time. Meanwhile, center of attention. You know, everybody's looking at the fool on the floor, rolling the ball, you know. So it's that type of thing to where I don't necessarily have to have it, but I do like it at the same time.
Yes.
I like the attention. I like the laughter. I like the whatever else. I just do. That's part of human, I suppose, but I do like it. So I want to go to Pat on this one. As you say, you were the firstborn. Is it important for you to be liked? Now, here's why. Before you answer, here's why I say that. Most people say, and I've heard this my whole life. I've said this once or twice until I started to correct myself. I don't care what people think about me. Everybody said it, everybody heard it, or whatever. But the truth is, you don't care what everybody thinks, but you do care what some people think. Like your children, your mother, your father, your whoever. you do care what a certain amount or certain group of people may think about you because their opinion matters. Everybody else's opinion washes away with the rain. So it doesn't really matter what everybody thinks. So is it important for you to be liked, Pat?
Is it important? Again, it's a qualified yes. Uh, I think um, I think in terms of survival, yes, because like if I'm not like then I'm not gonna have food. Like, there's a connection. So there's a kind of survival instinct attached to please like me. Um, but if I may tell a little story about the woman who lives upstairs.
Well, go for it.
I think by now anyone who's visited my channel should know one story at least of the woman who lives upstairs. Um, but what I've learned from her is if someone doesn't like you, it's a kind of freedom. You never have to impress that person because you never will. So the freedom is you can just be yourself. It's never going to make a difference. They're never going to like you, regardless of how you are. And if you're a people pleaser or you're one of those people who tries to do things to get people to like you, that kind of codependency, when somebody doesn't like you, it's really a gift because there's nothing you can do that's going to make that happen. So yes, it matters to me that some people like me. Uh, it matters to me that people like the gift that I have to share. It doesn't matter to me that everyone has to like me. And it's okay if some people don't. Actually, it's fine. It doesn't keep me awake at night. And there's a lot of freedom in that. So there's my story. And thanks to the woman upstairs.
Of course.
Adrian, I want to go to you. Is it important to be liked, especially in your field and your position in your field? Is it important for you to be liked?
Which field?
Your day job.
My day.
Yeah.
Your grind.
That's loaded. So I was gonna just say ditto to everything Pat said, literally. And it's hard because being not only one of the few women in advertising, but the only person of color in advertising, you have to kind of go, unfortunately, for them to even take anything that I say, they're going to have to unfortunately like me. And it doesn't matter how brilliant I deliver, how smart I am. For them to be comfortable, they're going to have to like me, which really kind of freaking sucks when you think about it.
Yeah.
So there's I was about to get really real and say I'll say it anyway. So sometimes there can be a lot of alcoholism involved. I don't like caps, but this is Kool-Aid tonight. It's not anything alcoholic. But I love what Pat said because I was going to chime in. For a really long time, my boss did not like me. Or at least I felt no, she didn't like me. I still think she doesn't like me, but that's beside the point. And initially I was like, this is going to suck because I need her to like me I need her to respect me so we can get the work done. And unfortunately, the way our pay raises and things are done at work, if she don't like me, I ain't getting nothing. But at the same token, I was like, you know what? Kiss both inner flaps of my double wide behind. You know, I've got nothing to lose. So yeah, I'm gonna start cussing people. Okay, not literally cussing people out, but
Yeah.
you know what? Okay, game on, fire me. And everybody at work is like, she loves you. And I'm like, really? Because I pretty much tell her what side of my butt to kiss every day because I know she can stand me. Like, I know, like,
I
her
love it.
crawls, and she's like, God, I gotta deal with her again. But it's just, so yeah, unfortunately, when you're in corporate America, it to answer your question, it sometimes does have to go hand in hand. There has to be a part of, unfortunately, the respectability factor is actually the do they like you factor.
Yeah.
And it's not anything more but that.
Okay, now I want to go to Autumn as the person whose chart is full of water. Is it important for you to be liked?
Well, my chart is I do have quite a bit of water in my chart. and because I have that sun in Scorpio, I have that Scorpio intensity. All of my life, I've had some intensity that just always rubs people the wrong way. It just is. It just, no matter where I go, there will be some people they're like, oh, that, such and such. She's always doing this or that, or she's, the other thing is I moved almost, I was in a different school almost every year growing up. And I bounced around all over, and I've been in poor public schools. I've been in private Catholic schools. I've been in schools overseas. I've been all over, and it amazes me the people, the clique, the popular people were always, oh well, this is what's normal. And of course I'd be like, really? Because that's not what they think is normal, and that's not what they say is normal, and that's not what they say is normal. So in high school, I sort of I jokingly referred to it as head of the resistance, where it was just after a while the popular girls, the mean girls, it was just like, they were awful, and it hurt. Mm-hmm. But there was something inside me, I could not back down. And I would just, so is it important that I am liked? It's just not going to happen. I want to be. So all I can really focus on, again, is going back to that idea of excellence, or doing the very best I can with whatever I'm doing. And if I do that, I just, do that and keep moving. The one thing I will say is that having a YouTube channel and interacting with a lot of people every day, you can feel the energy. Mm-hmm. And I've had, I don't say this in a boastful way because it's not fun. Every once in a while, you'll have somebody who has some kind of romantic feelings or something. And that when they finally move on to another obsession or whatever, it's a relief, and you can feel the energy. There was somebody and that recently finally just started going somewhere else, and it's like, oh, I can even feel that it's just good. It's just me again, and just this, because that energy kind of pushes in on you if depending on what other people want. And it's like, I got stuff to do, so just back up. And I don't say that to be like, oh, everybody loves me. No, because they don't know me, and they project when it occasionally happens. These are people who they just decide. I mean, it's like, I mean, I've been stalked before. It's not as nice as, I mean, it's nicer than being stalked, but it's energetically, it's still right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Grammy Award-winning Jace Harnage.
Thank you, baby. Speak it into existence, love.
Speak it out there.
That's right.
Receive it. Is it important for you, and especially in the realm that you work? Is it important for you to be liked?
Well, yeah. That's a lot of it. I was thinking about what Pat said. I was the oldest, so there was a lot expected of me. I wasn't very confident because I did not think that what I was doing was anything that anybody else couldn't do. I didn't look at it as being special. And you're right, mean girls or people that don't like you are not gonna like you. And for those people, they, I say that I really don't give a what they think, because I'm focused on the ones who do. You cannot, the music world is kind of small. It gets tighter. So if you have this reputation for being difficult to work with, you're not going to get the calls. It's going to be difficult to get musicians to come out with you. And it's important that the people that you work with like you, because that's a vibration that helps bring the music to life. And more than that, when you are performing before people, it's really important that they like you, because they will support you. They will come out. They want to know, well, where you playing next, or do you have a product out? So yeah, it's important that I am liked. And even in the corporate world, like Adrian said, when I was working as a paralegal in law firms and stuff, it was important that people like down in the copy room liked you, because then if you had a rush job, then they would get your job done first, Yeah, that's a real important aspect of it, and I'm just unapologetic. And over time, I have learned to focus on those who really dig me or can really get with what I'm doing. I can't spend any more time thinking about who's not with it,
Very sage advice.
So, is it important for me to be liked? It is. We're talking about ego. This is going to sound very egotistical. I'm going to say it anyway, though. I have always had, the way I'm going to explain it, you can dismiss it if you wish. I have always had something on my life that it is easy for me to get on with people. And they're sort of magnetized to me in a way, because I'm supposed to be a vessel for, spiritual messages. I'm supposed to, be the prophet, as it were. And so if there's something that God can't get into you because of whatever's going on in your life, then I'm supposed to be the one to deliver said message. And so I've always had a way, whether you are Bocephus from Oklahoma or, Chantel from New York City, I have always been able to talk to just about anybody, anywhere, about anything. And so it's not important for me to be liked, because I always have been. And as the baby of the family, especially, I've always had a bunch of attention, but I've never been egotistical. I've never been a brat or any of those type of things, because it feels like I'm supposed to be doing something higher than just, hey, look at me. I'm supposed to be of service to other people. And so my whole life, when it comes to people who don't like me, it's always usually because of that. They're never jealous of the things I have. They're jealous of the way people treat me. That's what it's always been my whole life. It's like, oh, that person likes you. They used to like me, and now I don't like you. Okay. I mean, that's something for you to work out in here. I can't hold that feelings because I got my own to deal with. So I've always been liked. And so for people who don't like me, now this is something that I'm learning throughout time, though. This is not something that I was born with, nor do I have a full grasp of it as of right now, but I'm learning this thing, to ignore the people who don't like me, because it gets under the nail and under the skin. 99 people can say they love you. One person says, I hate you. And then it's like, and then you turn to these 99 people, this son of a sucker. And then you put way too much energy into that person. And when I started YouTube, I was doing the same thing, where I would make a whole video about, oh, this person said this, and then I delete it because, I basically just needed to get it out, I suppose, but it doesn't need to be broadcasted. But then I'd get on the live stream, and then I'd address somebody that was negative. And then I told myself, and then I say this on YouTube, if you don't make a video praising the 700 people that gave you a thumbs up, but you made a video cursing the 2 people who gave you the thumbs down, that's not the way to do things.
And you've spat in the face of the 700 people.
Of the 700 people
That's
who
right.
liked you. It's like, yes, I know you gave me the thumbs up, but that's not important. What's important is this. What's important is the ugly, the underbelly, the gross. And it never is.
Because that's all they wanted.
That's all they wanted.
That's right. They just want to give them attention or something.
And that's the thing that I have not yet mastered, but it is the thing that I always have to remind myself. Do not pay attention to the underbelly. Pay attention to the majority of the people. We had 5, 6 trolls. Just delete it and move on. Like just keep it going, right? There are 226 people watch. I don't even know 226 people in my personal. I know maybe 20 people in my whole personal life, and yet 226 people are looking at me. So that matters more than the people who are not. So one more question, if we can, y'all.
Can I just throw in a seasonal comment just for the fun of it?
Please.
There is something in the UK. It's called Wamageddon, and that is how long can you go without hearing George Michael's Last Christmas?
All right.
And if you hear it, then you've lost Wamageddon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it's among your group at work, your group and your family. You know, it's like, well, I want it here, but I lost it there, kind of thing. Wamageddon. Well, I lost Wamageddon the other day, which is good, fine with me. I loved George Michael's voice, loved it, and he wrote Last Christmas. Mm-hmm. But I was just thinking about that because if you sit there and you're actually listening to what he's saying and going through this whole thing, it's like, on the one hand, he sounds a little bit whiny. You know, Last Christmas, I gave you my heart, and the very next day, it's like, boy, that is a whole lot to pour into a one-day relationship. On the one hand. On the other hand, George, she's not worth it. I mean, seriously, she's not worth those high notes at the end. She's not worth this whole song. Seriously, this is a great song.
Because he did say, though, this year, to save me from fear, whatever, I'll give it to someone special. Mm-hmm. So he did catch himself and go, you know what? He listened to your advice. He said, you know what? That old skanky ass skank heifer, you ain't worth it. So what I'm gonna do is give it to the person who's gonna hold it special.
Yeah.
There is that, but again, that's like all the negativity, and then okay, I'll be a little bit positive. And does anyone believe him? In the video, he's just like staring at her like he's like watching everything she does all the way through the video when the friends get together. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there.
Meanwhile, Adele and Taylor Swift have made a whole $1 billion on just that concept.
Didn't he die just before Christmas too?
Right.
So, my last question.
What'd you say, Pat?
Didn't he die just before Christmas too?
Oh, on Christmas Day,
2016.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Bless him.
Right.
By the way, I do like my own company. I should add, speaking of who do I like and who likes me.
Yeah.
I'm hilarious.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are.
You are. Without even trying, you just.
And there's nothing egotistical about that.
No,
that's you should like your own company, because otherwise you'll be craving for other people's attention.
I get all my own jokes.
Right.
I can't fool you. I like my own company too. It's just sometimes it drives me crazy. That's all. Guys, if you can tell by my non-political live streams, what my brain does to me is, what is God?
That's the fun
Ask
part.
themselves that kind of question. Anyway, I will never get over that. Back to what I was saying. My last question. YouTube. Everybody has a YouTube channel here. We'll end on the YouTube. When you started YouTube, did you have an expectation? That's the first question. Then the second part of the question is, do you have any advice for people who want to enter into a public space? Because Autumn started with the hands. We were not on screen.
I remember both of you, yeah.
And so when you get on screen, it becomes a completely different interaction, because now people, oh, look at your background, and oh, your eyes are this, and blah, blah, blah. So it's a whole different thing. So
you look tired today. No, I'm
yes.
Right.
Are you
What's wrong
ill?
with you?
Are you ill?
Yeah.
You must be. You look terrible.
I look tired says I look like crap, and you're just trying to say it in a nice way. Meanwhile, I'm okay. How are you? So
I felt that in my spirit. I felt that in my spirit.
let's start with you, Anna. Since we started kind of the same way
That is
with
so
being kind of
annoying.
off screen.
Oh my gosh.
With a little more.
Excuse me, sorry.
Yeah, we've lost Pat completely. This is good. This is great. This is great.
She tickled that way.
We've lost Pat completely. Okay. It's totally understandable.
Because Pat, you felt that in your spirit, didn't you? When you said that. I felt that. And I was like,
That's why I
yes.
love Johnny. I mean, he just did that.
It was
Oh.
I mean, though,
That was quite the comeback.
just say you ugly and turn the thing off. That's all you really need to do.
Right,
'Cause that's what you're trying to get at.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Oh, chef's kiss.
which you know, as we used to say, I look like your mama. So there you go.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to file that one away. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Oh Jesus! That wasn't my ego talking either. That was okay.
Yeah,
Drink
it
break.
is.
Okay,
Oh
back to
no.
did you, when you started your YouTube channel, did you have an expectation for it? That's the first question. And do you have any advice for people wanting to enter the public space like this?
Okay. First part of this, there's a lot I don't want to go into, but the upshot, just the cram it all into just a couple of sentences. Basically, when I started my channel, I didn't have a voice, and I had completely collapsed in on myself. And this was, I was doing readings just because I had to hear the news, something in the news, and I'd be just like, what? You know, my head was going to explode. And so it was, where are my cards? So I was doing the readings anyway. I thought, I do have a camera. I could record this. And it was just this just trying to use my voice, just trying to, I mean, there are a couple of very early videos where I actually used a mechanical voice because I didn't want to make noise. I was afraid to make noise. And some people were like, oh, you had laryngitis. And I'm just like, okay, you just just think I had laryngitis. I didn't. I was afraid to make noise. And since then, I have more and more been able to open up, and eventually I was able to show my face and really start, being creative. And I'm not even fully, the flower petals are not fully even open yet. There's a lot I'm afraid to just let out into the world. So my expectations, I was just trying, I thought maybe I could do some good, and I wanted to have a voice.
Oh.
And I also, going back to being, jokingly the head of the resistance, I was also so horrified by Donald Trump and everything he was doing, and the authoritarianism and all of that. I was so horrified. It was like, you know what? Because when he first came in office, we didn't know how bad it was going to be. We actually thought it was going to be worse.
Yeah, sure.
It was bad. It was bad, and we
yeah.
thought there was a possibility it was going to be worse. And I was like, you know what? If I'm, I have to say something. I want to be on the record saying no. I said no. And the likelihood that, little old me would, be, I don't know, locked up somewhere or taken to court or whatever. I remember I half jokingly said, well, if somebody if somebody's going to drag me somewhere off, I want a good 300, 400, 500 videos that they can use against me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I will be that person. I will be one of the many people, but I will stand up. So that was important too. But I didn't, my gosh, the thought of being here, talking like this, showing my face, doing my nails every day, the whole thing,
Yeah.
that was unfathomable to me when I started. And as far as what other people, if you want to have your own YouTube channel, it's, I think the way I describe it is, you look at your astrology chart and it will show you, it will point directions of natural abilities you have. Because if you're going to have a channel, you have to stand out in some way. And the best way to stand out is to be yourself. What are your strengths? I do a lot of graphics. I do graphic covers. I do graphic overlays. I'm changing my nails every day. I color coordinate. I'm on every day. I've got these things that's like, oh, that's what she does. Well, I could point to exactly what's in my chart, because it's like, yeah, this is what I feel comfortable doing. These are my natural strengths. And so you just have to figure out, what are your natural strengths? And you've got to really focus on that so that you can bloom. And that's the way you're going to have a successful channel. The way you're going to stand out is not if you try to, it's that old saw about, don't try to be somebody else. No. It's more specific than that. You have your own strengths. Johnny, you have 1,000 tarot decks. And that is awesome.
Yeah.
I
1,001. Thank you very much.
I almost always use the same deck, with rare exceptions, because I'm juggling so much else. I don't know, or maybe I just don't have the wherewithal. But so that's what I would recommend. You just find, are you a Leo? If you're a Leo, you're here to be a king or a queen. Own it. There's even a guy on YouTube called Leo King. Is that his name? The astrology guy. Yeah, and he, it's like, whatever you are, be that.
Whatever you are. Thanks, Jen Lynn, for showing up 1 hour late, ma'am. Thank you.
You know what, Jen Lynn?
Jen had a reading, though.
Tell Johnny the same thing Blanche Dever used to say, better late than pregnant. So there you go.
Right.
You showed up.
She was working. I can't pay her mortgage, so she is excused. But let me say this too, on to Autumn's point. I will say this for the audience, because we share audience as readers pretty much. You all made it comfortable, though, to be in front of you. You made it comfortable to actually find a voice, too. Because, yes, there are the ugly among us that, just want to crash the party or bring it down or whatever. But they are always in the super minority. It is always the majority that is so positive that, oh, such a good read, even if they only watch 2 minutes. They say, good read, thumbs up, hearts everywhere. And so it makes it comfortable to say, you know what? I like this. They like this. Let's keep doing it. So I want to go to you, Adrian. Did you have an expectation when you started this? And do you have any advice for people who want to enter the public space?
I did not, because I did not have time to have an expectation. I think I had my channel for like 2 weeks, if that. And then Tallulah's Tarot found me. And then she forced you, Johnny, to be friends with me. And then the whole thing was freaking fast that I just didn't have a chance to even have an expectation. I think I developed the expectation more after I was doing it for a minute. And then once I started setting the expectation, I had to check myself and go, no, wait. The moment this becomes a job, the moment this becomes unfun, you have to reprioritize.
Yeah.
Which is what she did actually. And I always give her credit for that because she said that Adrian, she told me before she can stop, the moment this becomes unfun, the moment this becomes a job, I have to put my kids and my family first. So I've always thought about that. So yeah, I didn't have time. I literally had a channel 2 weeks. She's pulling me in for lives. Then you pulled me in and I was like,
Wow.
I
Wonderful.
suck. But yet they want me to do this, but I suck. What am I going to do? So no, I didn't have an expectation.
Sorry, you don't suck. Just throwing that out there. You do not suck. You are awesome. Just okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, for real.
It was very.
I rebuke that.
It was a very much crapper get off the pot, and which is what I forced on Jace and Veronica and anybody who wants to do the channel. I'm like, you're going to sit and stew about it and think about it forever. Just do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. That's actually not my advice. My advice is this. For anybody, when you do it, and for anything that's causing you hesitation to do it, I want you to remember this. The people who are going to be the loudest, or the people who are going to comment or say something about what you're doing and how, or making some type of recommendations, and God forbid when they tell you what you should do, those are the very same people who wouldn't even know where to begin to start a YouTube channel. Those are the very same people who wouldn't have the courage to even just put their hands and talk through something on a YouTube channel. You have to block them out because they don't have the courage to do it. All they have the thing to do is just comment and criticizing what you're doing. Like Johnny was saying earlier, you have to tune that out. Don't use that as a catalyst to be afraid to do it. Just do it. Because like everybody has said, you're going to get way more likes and loves than you are going to get criticism.
Yeah.
Yep. Pat,
Hi.
did you have an
Okay.
expectation for your channel, and do you have any advice?
All right. So I'll tell the story quickly. It begins with Genlin. I was doing research on a character, and the character was a character that threw cards every morning, and I needed to do some research as I was writing this fictional story, and came across Genlin, and somehow eventually came across Johnny. I was 61, subscriber 61. And we somehow got into communication, and you said do it. It had been in my mind to start a channel to do my children's stories because I have a whole bunch of them. And you encouraged me, and my guides, like, I don't know, one day before Christmas last year, it's like they literally picked me up out of bed and said, make a story now. It's like I was impelled. It was really interesting. Like I couldn't go to sleep till I finished the first video. It took me like 7 hours, and so that's sort of the genesis of this. Um, it's been a wonderful experience. So I thank you, and I thank Jen and my guides. Uh, I had expectations, of course, because I'm shallow. I figured as soon as I did this, 1,000 people would show up and I'd start making a lot of money. You know what they say about expectations being the forefront of disappointment. Nevertheless, what I've learned is to keep going. And Johnny always says, whatever you do, it will find its audience. If it's taking pictures of cactuses or, you know, cat's whiskers, whatever it is, there are people out there who will like that, and they will find you eventually. And so, thanks to all of you, and I am very grateful for this community. People have been finding the channel and expressing their appreciation for my God given talent. Um, and that is so heartwarming. I should say, while I do write for a living, and I don't really care about the comments that come to me from people who read my columns, I do so appreciate the kindness of people who take the time to comment on the stories on the YouTube channel, which is like a complete opposite of how I feel about my work writing. So my hobby writing, it means a lot to me when people take the time to express their interaction with it. I have no advice except be patient with yourself if you want to do this, and just keep going. And yeah, as long as you're enjoying it and you're being real and true, uh, I think it should be all right. one of the things I try not to do is to be perfect. Like you'll see all kinds of little glitches and mistakes in there, and I leave it in there because I think that there's a whole industry of perfection in films and videos, and I think there's space for just being as it is. So that's why I just it's pretty homemade in my little corner of the world, and I like it that way, and I hope you do too. Uh, just do it, as Johnny said to me. Just do it.
Amen. Yeah.
Jace Harnage, Jazzy
Yes, sir.
Jace. Do you have an expectation for your YouTube channel when you started? And do you have any advice, especially you as a person that I spoke when we spoke beforehand, that I love the fact that a person can get up in front of a crowd and sing. Singing is different than talking
Yes.
to me. And you can judge my voice for my speaking voice, but judging my singing voice is a whole different thing because that's something I'm trying to do, right? And so you get up and you sing in front of people, and you have a certain, that boldness about you that you can do such a thing. So you are in a public space in a different way than most of us. So did you have an expectation for your YouTube channel? And do you have any advice for people to get out there in the public space?
Well, I have to first say that if it wasn't for Adrian, I found you both through Tallulah's channel. I had watched Autumn and Boo Boo Kitty and Johnny when they were doing hands. I used to like to watch Autumn because her nails were always so gorgeous. And I was like wondering, how does she get her nails done like that all the time? And I also enjoyed the way she would read. So Adrian and Johnny encouraged me to do it. And what I found was that it is really different from it. What's the difference for me is that when I'm standing in front of an audience, I can actually feel the vibration. I actually know what's going on. There is a human connection. This was very different, and it frightened me. And when you all were coming on, there were lots of people that were coming on to the channel. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed having you all there. And it was almost as if when the baby had to walk, I became a little terrified because I said, now, what am I going to do now? So I have to. I'm still trying to figure out what it is that I'm doing, but because I was voyeuristic. I just enjoyed watching. I have a great deal of respect for you, Johnny, and Autumn, and y'all. When you were coming on every day with the little short videos, I would go to my favorites. I think I don't know how I found Jen Lynn, but I found Becca some years ago too, because I was fascinated by Lenormand and all of that. So there were favorites that I would visit. So for me, my expectation was that I would be good at it. And so when I started to not feel as if I was handling things very well, I kind of had to pull up a little bit and pull back and say, well, what is it you want to say? What is it you want to convey? I mean, I'm really great if I go into a rant. It seems that when I get on and I'm angry, well, like ticked, somebody's plucked the nerve and I can go. I'm good at those, and they can be somewhat amusing. However, I didn't want to always come with that energy. And like you, Autumn, when I was angry about Trump, I was angry about him. I was angry because the first day he sat down in the chair, he locked up the airports. Can't no Muslims coming to the country. I said, oh boy, we're going to be, and having met him on 3 or 4 occasions in New York, it was like, oh my God, we're in for a bumpy ride.
You met him?
For me, yeah, 3 or 4 times. Oh yeah.
What's he like in person?
Huh?
What's he like in person?
A jerk and kind of like a sociopath. I mean, you just sort of feel like he knows how to be charming, how to be engaging. He knows how to be those things. But if you have any kind of what the old black women in the church would say, any kind of discernment, which is discernment, you can look in his eyes, and when you touch his hand and get the vibe, you can kind of tell that it's messy. You know, it is truly messy. So, but anyway, so what I had to do was kind of back up and figure out what my message was going to be on my own. And so I found that I really enjoyed connecting with my musician friends to come on and it was a great way for us to connect and a great way for me to like talk about what I love. I'm finding that I really am opening up and being very confident in how I feel about my work, my spiritual work. I'm getting very comfortable with it. And it you know, people might call me a heretic or an esoteric, or they'll call you a bunch of names, you know, because it's I don't subscribe to the dogma of any religion, because there's beauty in all of them. But my expectation was that I would be able to handle it because I was so used to getting up in front of a crowd. And that was kind of the shock factor for me. But what I have learned and what I continue to learn from all of you is that, well, I still like to watch, you know, I still like to go and watch y'all do your thing, is that as long as I can show up, I may not feel that, I mean, you know, maybe it's just because of COVID, you want some company, you know, and the people that have been loyal continue to show up. When they see that I'm going live, they come on and they keep me company. And we just have like conversations. So I think what I'm learning is that it's important that you continue to show up, that you be your authentic self. You know, you're not going to be for everybody, because I know I'm not everybody's flavor. And again, I don't focus on those that don't dig it. I like to love on those who are loving on me, you know. So if you want to start a channel, you know, you got to put on your big girl panties and your big, you know, your ABCDEFG string and just jump in. You know, you have to jump in and see what happens, because I saw some guy who has a channel and all he does is pretend to eat poo. It's like, who wants to watch that shit? But somebody does, you know, somebody is going there to watch it. It's like, wow, you know. So yeah, just see where it takes you, because the one thing it is it can be a lot of fun, and you can meet some wonderful people that will join you in the chat, you know.
For sure.
It's just a love. I'm enjoying it more. So now I'm back on a regular schedule, gig permitting, because I am picking up some steam with that. So that I'm actually wanting to figure out how I can live stream my performances so that y'all are all invited. You know, so.
Amazing.
That's where that's probably the next level that I'm going to, that when I go out and perform, that I'll live stream it and you can come on in and with your cocktail.
Now there is a video on Jace's channel with her singing "Peel Me a Grape," so make sure you go over and check that out too. I love that song.
And for the life of me, I don't know how you found that, Johnny. Shit, I can't find
Okay, I'll tell you how. I remember you telling me a long time ago that you sang a song called "Peel Me a Grape," and I always was fascinated by the title. And so one day I just searched on YouTube the words "Peel Me a Grape," and then, you know, a whole bunch of people came up singing that song. And I was like, wait, Jace sang this too. So then I asked you again, hey, can you send me the audio file of you singing that song? And so there we go. That's how I found it.
I mean, it's
but
on
then
MySpace.
I found you because I typed your name in YouTube.
Oh my
singing "Fill
God,
Me
I'm
in
kind of
Grace" and
scared of what you might find
Wow.
from my name up in there, child. Because
we're all Googleable.
woo,
It's not
yeah.
necessarily cute,
I mean,
but anyhow,
it's in MySpace, but I don't know. I have a whole EP on MySpace. How long ago was that?
oh yeah, I can't
And so
find
I
that
can
one.
go and I can look at myself and I can play the songs, but they make it very difficult for you to pull the music down. So I have another way to get the music now. So thank you so much. Thank you, Johnny.
Expectation. Did I have an expectation? Yes, I did. For my original YouTube channel. This is my technically third YouTube channel, Tarot's Apprentice. The first one was called Tarot Mahalo, I believe. It's been that long, but it was very, very old channel. It was supposed to be a gaming channel. And I went to Best Buy and I bought all the Best Buy things that you could buy to have a gaming channel. I got big fancy earphones that you put on your face and they are
Ah,
the size of your head. And I got all the fancy computer that's supposed to be faster than the flash, all these different types of things. And then I started and I'm like, I'm going to be, one of these people with the big giant gaming channel and, be at the E3 conference and all this type of stuff. So, yes, I did have that expectation. And then I made a video and then all the expectation went whoosh. Right? And I'm like, I don't like this at all. I sound uninterested. Like my voice was really low and I had no energy whatsoever. And it's like, I don't know what he's saying because it's just one of them things. And I didn't know what was happening. It's like I didn't like what I was doing. I didn't like the video. So I deleted every single video that was on the channel. And then I did them all over again without me speaking because I sound like, somebody just drowned my best friend in front of me. And so like I did them without me speaking, but then it was like, it was like eating a snow cone in the Arctic. It's like, this is not special. So I just deleted the whole thing and said, forget it. Now I got a fancy, fast computer with nothing to do with it. And then Donald Trump got elected. And I'm like, ugh. And
yeah, I think we all felt the same way.
then I had cards in my hand. I had all this crap, this equipment. Now, mind you, I didn't have a camera. I just had a cell phone, which was enough. That's what I started with. You don't have to go out and buy all the doodles and daddles. I started with the cell phone and I pointed it at my cards and I did the reading. That's how it started. And I had no expectations for Tarot's Apprentice because all I wanted to do was read the cards. That's still all I want to do. Just read the cards, have fun with the whole thing. That's all I want to do. So when I had the expectations, I was completely disappointed. But then when I had none and actually did the thing I wanted to do, because there's one of our moderators by the name of Tarot Newbie. She did a reading for me. And I didn't tell her completely what the whole story was and the whole question and all that type of stuff because I wanted to see what she got. She said, you didn't like whatever this was because you weren't being yourself. And I'm like, boom, there you go. You got it right on the head. I didn't like the gaming thing because that wasn't me. Like, I'm not that person. I'm this person. I'm the tarot reader. I'm that person. I'm not this other person that I was trying to be that had all the expectations. I'm this person who just wants to have fun with the thing. So my advice for those who want to get into the public space, especially on YouTube, number one, like Autumn said, be authentic. Be yourself. Don't be the person chasing somebody else's dream. Be the person who wants to do whatever it is you want to do. There's an audience for everything. There are videos on YouTube where you can literally watch grass grow and paint dry. And yet it has views.
Yeah.
It's because somebody wants to go just out of morbid curiosity. If nothing else, they will click it. The click is all that matters to some people, but there you go. There's an audience for everything. So be authentic, be yourself. Don't try to put on an air. Don't try to be a front. Don't try to be, as Becca said, don't try to be the numbers chaser and all that type of things. Because once you start chasing subscribers, you're never going to stop.
Right.
So go and just try to do it. Number two, don't have any expectations. just do it. Don't try to do it trying to get something like I did, because then you're going to be disappointed because you're going to always be chasing the next thing. It's never going to be enough. So just be authentic and do not have any expectations. Do it because you want to, because once you start doing it because you feel you have to, then it becomes a job and then it becomes not fun.
Yeah.
So the third thing, have fun, do what you want to do. If you want to make, like us, for instance, there are 238 people watching this. And this is not a knock on anybody. But if I change the title of this video to Trump 45 reads, then I would probably get 800 people watching this.
Yeah.
Because, that's how the channel started. So I can't say that that's a bad. No, people started watching because of Donald Trump. So if you're not really talking about politics, then maybe I'm not interested. So and that's fine, because not everybody is going to watch everything. So you have to keep that in mind too. Do what you want to do. Don't pigeonhole yourself just because that's where the most views come from. Do the things you want to do. If you want to get on, if I want to play a singing bowl tomorrow and just film myself doing that, you don't have to watch it, but I'm still going to do it because it's what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure you have a clear plan of what you want to do. And if you want to fly with the wind, fly with the wind. This goes back to you starting to do it because you wanted to have fun, not because you're trying to have an expectation for something. And finally, biggest, most important thing, ignore the hate. Some people, this is why YouTube took the thumbs down count off of YouTube. Some
Really?
people
Is
click
that
your
down? I
video
didn't know that was
just to
down.
click thumbs down. That's it. They don't care what you. There's a video of a baby laughing. That is supposed to be the greatest sound in all of mankind. It has thumbs down because people just want to do that. They just thumbs down. You don't have to click the video. It's not even clickbait. If you click it, there really is a baby laughing in it. But you want to hit thumbs down just because. So ignore the hate, be authentic, and have no expectations. Do it just to have fun. Okay? Go and be merry. Now, or be Scott, be Tim, be Jessica, whoever you want to be. Sunday at 3 p.m., that's in 2 days. Sunday at 3 p.m., we will be on Shining Hawk Healing.
Okay.
Tony, the instigator, will be hosting.
Yeah, she really, I'm surprised. I mean, she has these such sweet, almost it's kind of like
She is sweet. It's actually us.
Oh, she's
It's me and Johnny. It's not Tony. The problem is how she instigates is that she just lets us act foolish if she doesn't stop us. She's not in the room. So then we just keep being.
But we love her to pieces, though.
Oh yeah, she's funny. She's really
Like she could come in my house and go in my refrigerator without asking. So
Yeah,
she's
that's
family. So we will be on Shining Hawk Healing at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, this Sunday, and then we will be live on Becca's channel noon Central every single day. You catch Autumn at Black and Orange Tarot and Astrology. And here we go again. Deborah Boyd, go into the void, my dear. So we will see y'all Sunday, and every day on Black and Orange. And make sure you visit Jace Harnage and subscribe. Make sure you visit, now you can't see me anymore, Pat Watson, the storyteller.
Yes.
And we will see y'all later. Thank y'all for joining us. Remember, have fun, be safe, wear your mask, and that good
Thanks,
stuff.
Johnny.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.